It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Welcome to the Ermanni and Edwards with Maz show, live on woodwardsports.com and fox2detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni, who's got 2 more days of vacation. I hope he's enjoying the sunshine somewhere.
He's skiing today.
So he's not enjoying sunshine? Where the hell did he go?
He's skiing up north.
Up north?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Somewhere's up there.
Keep it in the Michigan economy.
Absolutely.
I love that. Joining us on the desk today, the one, the only, Braylon Edwards. Welcome back, Braylon.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Good to be back. Let's say my trip wasn't the best. Came back a little sick, but here I am now. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, it's time to do it. There's a lot of people that have been in the chat all week wanting to know how Braylon Edwards is feeling about, a little game that happened. What was it, December 31st?
It was. Phoenix, maybe?
Yeah,
maybe
it was in Phoenix. I think you were there.
I was.
So we got a lot to run down in the show. Maz did a great job putting the show together, but
big guy right there.
We're almost going to throw this damn thing out the window, Maz.
Not all the way.
You know that. No, there's some good stuff on here.
No. I said let Braylon in and then let him go. That's what I said.
Yeah, before we get into all the Michigan talk, before we get into Lions talk, obviously the biggest story that has been happening since Monday night, Damar Hamlin. Yeah. That's the most important thing to discuss because
miracle.
Today you got news that he was awake, he was squeezing hands, just overall positive signs. He's not out of the woods yet.
Right.
When they can't clear him yet, but everything is progressing the way everybody had hoped it would to get to this point.
He's neurologically sound as well.
Yes.
It's what they say. It's what the Buffalo Bills put out. His friends are saying the first words that came out of his mouth to the doctors, "Did we win?" He said, "Did we win?" I'm just so freaking happy. I can't explain it to you.
Gladiators and Warriors, obviously I had a chance to watch the game. And actually, it's crazy, Stick. When I was turning on Monday Night Football is right when the play happened. So I had just missed the play, and then obviously everything from that. We talked in the chat, talked to some of my friends that were in the league. I think the big thing about it is I want to address first. I think the league handled it well. I heard talks of they were gonna. No. The league handles it well because there's a chain of command. You got to go down the line to make sure something happens. I think the league handled the process well. I think the country and I think around the world, I think as humans we handled it well. I think so much, in terms of football players, a lot of times you forget that they're humans. That's one of our big complaints as athletes. You forget the humane side of things. It's like all you care about is the fantasy points, or all you care about is, is my team going to win? Are you going to do what you're supposed to do? And a lot of times the humanity side of that gets lost in translation. I remember when fantasy football first came out. When I first got to Cleveland, this is before fantasy football, I run into old ladies at the airport. And they say, "Hey, how you doing, sweetie? I'm so glad you're on the team," and blah, blah, blah. In 2008, I'm running to the same old ladies at the airport, and they're like, "Are you going to get these yards?" and blah, blah, blah. They don't care. So I think it was almost a tragic, and like Matt said, it's not out of the woods yet, but he seems to be responding. He's asking questions. So we almost are out of the woods, but it almost was a tragic reminder we're human. Yeah. These guys are human, so make sure you care about their well-being as well. And I think it was a painful reminder, but I think it was a reminder, and I think as a country, as a society, as it relates to sports, I think we have done an amazing job wrapping our arms around Damar Hamlin, as well as his family, as well as the Bills organization. And I'm just proud of us as a country, and I'm proud of us as a people.
Just look back, guys, at 1971 when Chuck Hughes passed away at Tiger Stadium. If they had what we have today, they gave that kid Damar Hamlin, oxygen right from the get-go.
That saved his brain.
That saved his life.
Saved his brain.
Saved his life. Yeah. Chuck Hughes, hell, man, we weren't ready back in 1971. Yeah. And he basically died on the gurney on his way to Henry Ford Hospital. If we only had then what we have now, thank God, like we said, the two best places, and I'm putting best places in quotes, to have a heart attack, a cardiac arrest, is at a hospital or on a professional football field.
Yeah. Braylon, you played, obviously, not only in the league, but a long time playing football. I'm sure you saw a ton of injuries, and we talked about this the Tuesday after. You've seen broken bones. Yeah. You've seen torn ACL. You've had a torn ACL. You've seen dislocated shoulders. You've seen guys get knocked the F out 4 times in a game and get back out there woozy.
True.
The reaction of those players on the field when you saw what Josh Allen's face looked like, when you saw what Stephon Diggs' face looked like, what was going through your head?
Stick, as a former player watching, I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. And I know that's the thing that you keep hearing players talk about, and the reason why is because it's the truth. I'd never seen anything like this. Yeah. The closest thing I saw something like that was Cato June, safety, University of Michigan. Now he coaches in the NFL. Like when Cato got hit my sophomore year, he was on the ground. He wasn't moving for a while, and we were panicking. But he gave the proverbial thumbs up. Everything was cool. We were able to go back to the game. My brother, now this happened to my brother when my brother was playing in Michigan. He got knocked down. They went to 2 commercial breaks, but you saw him moving. He was talking. You saw that. Like, he wasn't moving. They gave him 9 minutes of CPR, 9 minutes of oxygen. They were doing this on the field. You saw the reaction of the players. Like, he was there lifeless for a large amount of that time. You saw the quarterbacks. You saw everybody became together. Like, right then and there, everybody was together. It was no longer Bills versus Bengals. It was no longer their fan base versus that fan base. It was togetherness. This is a young man's life at stake. You talk about his mom who was at the game. Like, my heart went out to his mom. I'm a mama's boy. I instantly thought about his mom. Like, what is she going through? Right. So it was rough. And the reason why we say we've never seen anything because we've never seen anything like that on the field. And I don't want to bring up emotions again. I know I haven't been here, but I guess I got to get mine out now.
Yeah, man.
Like, we never seen anything like that, but everybody was together. There were so many prayers that went up. There was so much love in the stadium. I mean, you saw Josh Allen.
$8 million to his charity has been raised, and one of the best tweets I've seen come out is somebody showed the GoFundMe. How much is it? And he says, "I can't wait to see his face when he reads this."
And the first thing he was talking about is, did they win? Wait till he sees that. The thing about it was, this showed you that we can be good people. Yeah, we can be great.
It's there, right? At the core. It's there. At the core, right?
At the core, it's there.
I want to say this, Bray, and you could speak on this. You're a player. I hope the NFL takes care of this kid because he was making like $160,000. Yeah. And let's face it, he might never play again. They better take care of him. That's all I got to say. The NFL better step their asses up and take care of this kid and take care of their players because they really have not in the past.
The NFL has dropped a lot of balls. No pun intended. They've dropped a lot of proverbial balls at times. I don't think this is one that they can drop. This is one that's impossible to drop because everybody was there together. Everybody is wearing the same thing. Everybody was thinking the same thing. Whether you watch football or not, you're human. They cared about Damar Hamlin. Just so proud of everybody once again. And this is a tough reminder that it is a humane side of things. I mean, that's the risk you take when you play this game. Like, when you step on this field, that's the risk you take. Like, any moment, any hit, and it's weird ways, and players are faster, they're stronger on both sides of the ball now. Like, any hit a certain type of way, an accidental, freakish way, it could be the last play for a young man in this game. So just take that with you. But I think we've done a good job of starting that process. NFL won't drop this one, man.
You don't think so?
I don't think the NFL will.
What is the actual? How long did they actually take care of you? Because let me go back to the Chuck Hughes for a minute.
Right.
The man who passed away as a Detroit Lion in 1971. They paid a portion of his salary to the family until his kid, who was a baby at the time, was 18. And he got a small portion of that. And we're talking 1971. Right. I'm talking 50-some-odd years ago.
Yeah.
But if you go back to the whole CTE thing and how all these great players of my era are dying and killing themselves, they don't really step up for these guys. They really have not stepped up for these guys. I mean, they took them to court for crying out loud instead of taking care of. And this is a multi-billion-dollar NFL. I mean, the Washington Commanders are going to go for $8 billion. The NFL is worth multi-billions of dollars. Why can't they throw a crumb to their players?
Now, what I would say about that is you're absolutely right. The NFL has been notoriously terrible. I mean, it took Will Smith to star in a movie for them to actually really care. Once people saw concussion.
And they still don't really care.
Exactly, but they're forced to care.
Yeah.
The one thing they've done since I retired, Maz, is now when you play in the NFL, I think if you get a year in, it used to be 3 years and 3 games.
So he's got a year and change
now,
in.
Exactly. Once you get a year in, you have health care for life. I just missed that by 1 year, by the way. I had 13 and it came in 14.
Really?
Tell me about it. 13 and came in 14, but now it's healthcare for life, which means obviously anything you need, whether it's surgeries or mental, physical, whatever, they'll take care of. So that's a step in the right direction. One of the biggest things the NFL needs to get better at is they do have a lot of programs in terms of ways to get money or pots or pots, if you will. But they make it so hard to find these pots. Like they make it so hard and so under the radar where you got to really do research and you got to know attorneys that are in on the loop to be able to tell you how you get around it, or here's the pot and this is what you have to do. I would charge the NFL, stop making it so difficult. At the end of the day, these guys play for your league. These guys representing your shield. At the end of the day, just tell them, hey, this is where it is. Hey, this is what you have to do. Make it simple for these guys. Stop making guys jump through hoops. My dad's 64. You want to call a spade while my dad's not here? My dad's going through the neurological care. You know about that.
You guys should have health care for life.
100%. My dad's 64 and he just found out about this 3 years ago, and now he's going through the process. What if my dad would have perished? Right. He would have never known that was out there for him. Somebody told him. That's what I'm talking about with the NFL, where they can get better. It's just telling guys that, hey, this is where it's at. This is for you. This is how you do it. Stop making it so hard for guys to find these honeypots, if you will.
Well, and not to take the direction away from Damar Hamlin, but as a former player, you see your brother down on the field. You see him going through 9 minutes of CPR. You see him getting defibrillated. How do you get in the mindset to step back onto a football field after that?
The crazy thing about it, Stick, is we're gladiators. We're the modern day gladiators. Back in the day, everybody used to go to the Coliseum. But they go to the Coliseum, and the fans would do this. They would want to see that. We're now that version of that. You go to a Lions, or you go to a game, you go to an arena. You want to see somebody get knocked out. Maybe not so much now, but you want to see somebody get hit fast. You want to see high action, flying, scoring of all that nature. That's just what we do. This is just what we do, man. When I guarantee you see what Damar Hamlin's first words were, did we win? Right. Which means his thought process is still on what? The football, the game, his teammates being in that locker room, being on that field. We love this game. And that's why, the other side of it is, I want people to know this out there is, we know that this comes with territory. So as players, we're not man, all of a sudden we want you guys to be something along those lines where now the game is too dangerous, or, that. We know that. We sign off on that. That's on the back of the helmets. It's inside the locker room. It's on the decree on the wall in all home stadiums and locker rooms and away stadiums. So we know that. This guy is ready to come back. The second that he gets out of the hospital bed, the second he wakes up, his mind and his process is going to get him back on that football field somehow. Where I would urge his family, I would urge Sean McDermott, I would urge all his players, I would urge them, I want him to keep him off that field for as long as until there is beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is ready to go back on that field, much like the Tua situation, but somewhat different. Make sure, sometimes you have to protect people from themselves. To answer your question, he's going to be ready to go back on that field right now. He's ready. If that were me, same thing. You'd be ready to go because this is what I signed up for. This is the game I love. This is the game I've been dreaming about playing since I was, since I was born, since I knew my father played. So it's always in us to get back on that field.
But they got to figure out if the helmet, shoulder caused that cardiac arrest.
Yeah, that would be
that cardiac arrest was waiting to happen, like Hank Gathers.
Right.
If he had a heart defect. They have to figure all of that out.
You never know, and the time will tell all of that. But we definitely wanted to get your opinion on that and your reaction to that, because you got great insight, obviously playing in the NFL and understanding what those players are thinking in that locker room. So
I've got some breaking news for us too.
On Hamlin?
No, on the whole NFL.
Okay, well, we'll hit that breaking news coming up next. But first, let me tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome. Jeff Iafrate, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Jeff.
The public pressure, he finally caved, and he did it. He did it, folks. He shaved his head because Michigan lost that football game on New Year's Eve. Yes, they did. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But Jeff Iafrate did it at Lady Jane's with Bethany because she is the best and they have the best. Walk in anytime. Get your head shaved like Jeff Iafrate. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
3, 2, 1. Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway's got the giant slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course, that indoor arcade. Not to mention, you can grab a drink at the Lodge before or after any Lions, Wings, or Pistons home game. So shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with Decked Out Detroit, and you can always check them out at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz live on WoodwardSports.com and Fox2Detroit.com. Thank you to everybody in the WoodwardSports.com chat today. We appreciate you being a part of the show, along with my man JB and, of course, Fletch. I think between me and JB, we have the number 23 on us 4 separate times.
Yeah, very true. Is that 23 on the back of your hoodie?
I got the Jaden Ivies. I got the Jaden Ivy.
No, it's just on the front of mine, though.
Oh, and
you got the 23
okay.
now step back and show them the hoodie. So you got the Jordan greater than LeBron. And then this number 23, we never know where they're going to wind up in that conversation.
Great win last night for the Pistons.
Oh, Sadiq Bey.
How about that?
Sadiq Bey.
Did you see Bey against my man?
Isaiah Stewart, you mean?
Yeah, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Beef stew
Isaiah Stewart, Draymond Green.
Against Draymond.
Isaiah Stewart. He did the smart thing when you're about to fight someone like a Draymond who is known to get them long arms. He pulled him close to him. Do you see that? It was like, come here, you ain't getting that long shot on me.
If we're here. It's very Scorpion-like.
I loved it, man. It's good to see that fight out of the Pistons. Like I was telling JB, I was like, I rocked the Pistons stuff today because we've only been able to celebrate them 11 times this year.
Hey, you know
not
what?
Lots.
That's 6 more times than this time last year.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough.
6 more times
than
last year.
You got breaking news? What's going on?
I do. From Pro Football Talk, that's Mike Florio and the guys there. We all know this Bengals-Bills game is second to DeMar getting healthy.
Is this official before?
It's not official yet. But more than likely, the Bengals and Bills will be in no contest. Right. As I told you the other day, I said it's going to end in a tie. Here's the kicker. If the no Bills and Bengals game happens, no game, the NFL figuring out what to do with the AFC seeding. A neutral site for the AFC Championship game is possible. That is, of course, if the Chiefs get knocked out somehow, because the Chiefs should hold serve and have home field advantage. If they get knocked out, then the Bills might get home field. Cincy somehow might get home field. We don't know yet. It might be played on a neutral site. Expansion of the playoff field. You ready, Lion fans? Can go to 8 teams per conference.
You know what that means?
You know what that means.
You don't have to worry about the outcome of the Seattle game.
We don't know that yet.
Yes, you do.
Well,
it's a possibility.
Because it could be a couple of 8s. We might lose a tiebreaker. But I'm just saying.
No. There's 3 teams that could potentially get in the playoffs right now.
Right.
If they add another, that means 2 of those 3 are getting in.
Right.
So that means Seattle's getting in no matter
what.
what.
The Lions just have to beat Green Bay.
And if the Lions beat Green Bay, they're in. That's it.
True.
It's a win and get. It eliminates Seattle.
Okay, that's a good topic. So if it does go to 8 teams, Lion fans, there you go.
Leave it to the NFL.
There you go.
Leave it to the NFL to use strategy to make more money.
There you go.
Leave it to the Lions to back into the playoffs like this.
You know what else I heard they could do?
Yeah.
They'll play Week 18 coming up this Sunday. And then Week 19 will be the NFC playoffs and the Bengals versus the Bills. Then they get a week off for the NFC. The AFC wild cards play. And then there's no week off between the Super Bowl and the championship
You
game.
already know how I feel. Just give me football. More football.
I prefer,
all the football.
I prefer that because I'd like to see no week in between the Super Bowl and the championship game. I just want it straight through.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. Let me ask you, let's say the shoe was on the other foot. Let's say the Detroit Lions didn't need the space and they were the number 1 seed. Would you be unhappy that the number 1 seed now no longer got the bye? Because right now, if I'm the number 1 seed, you can say what you want about the instance that happens, how sad it is, how tragic it is, and etc. But if you're number 1 seed right now, you holding the number 1 seed card, you want your bye. So would you get mad when not having it, or you're like, the hell with it, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know these guys are competitors. What's their mindset going to be? I don't care. I'll play on the moon on a Tuesday night. You put me on that field, we win it.
That's but they also game you weren't expected to play.
But yeah, I was going to say, but they also busted their ass all season to get that bye
number
week.
1 seed,
and that's what you're playing for at the end of the season, positioning for that number 1 seed.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be, and if they got to play an extra game, you play an extra game.
Yeah. The number 1 seed, I still think, would have a week off. I still think the number 1 seed would have a week off. Right. Somehow, some way, the NFL will make sure that they would have a week off.
You think the NFL has already had this kind of planned out? And this is just
really
an opportunity to
this is uncharted.
This is unbelievable.
You don't think they've had a plan to expand to 8 teams in place, and that this is maybe their opportunity to be like, you know what? We have it in place. We don't know what we're doing. Yeah. This kind of solves the problem. Let's try it this year.
Maybe when they go to 18 games, which they will eventually.
Right, and expedited it.
Yeah, and they just expedited it.
Yeah.
They might have had something in the back pocket. They might have. And thank goodness we've got our favorite NFL insider coming on, Ari Meirov, in about 30 minutes from now. Not about 20 minutes from now. So he fits in perfectly today. We'll get it all straight with Ari.
I mean, it's interesting. At the end of the day, you look at it, 8, it's 16, so you cut that in half. I mean, so half the teams would technically make the playoffs. I definitely see what you're saying, Stick. Like, hey, they may have had to something that they discussed. Because when they have these owners' meetings, when they have these players, like when you have these meetings in the off season, like a ton of things get discussed about. When they have the Players Association as well as the NFL, a lot of these things get talked about. So this is something that could be on the horizon. Going back to what you said in my question, you're right. At the end of the day, you know what? This is a part of the game. This is an uncharted territory. So if you have to play an extra week, you know what? You got to play the extra week. Go play the extra week. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it either.
Especially this year with this scenario, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like we just talked about it for the first 15 minutes of the show, how people have really shown the best part of themselves through it. So if you're like, I got to play another game, but it's for DeMar, I have no problem doing that this year. You know, this isn't a NFL shove down where they're making you play an extra game in a week and you got to go through the NFLPA and all of that stuff. This is, hey, we're all in this together. This is the best solution to a problem none of us predicted.
Now here's an interesting thought. Since it is for DeMar, Maz brought this up earlier. Since it is for DeMar, how about some of that revenue gets donated to DeMar?
Oh God, yeah, I would love that.
How about that?
They won't let it happen.
That takes care of them.
They won't let it happen. But maybe they do another. Maybe they do another charity grab for him. Another. What's it called?
GoFundMe.
Another GoFundMe. Yeah,
that would definitely be something to think about. Like if you are going to do this because you're going to generate more wealth, maybe each team that's in the playoffs.
I love that.
They send something to the NFL. The NFL puts that package together and they give it to DeMar and his
the
family.
extra revenue from the games.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a lot of bread.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you too.
Maybe cap it at like
but
$10
maybe that
million
starts
or $20 million.
Maybe that starts the DeMar fund. You know, for people that down the road, and they're just I don't know. That's the NFL putting their very best foot forward, I guess.
Maybe it could also be to players that have been paralyzed in this game, college and pro. Make a fund for all of them and call it the DeMar Fund. Or, remember when Nick Bonacani's son, Mark Bonacani, was paralyzed, and when he played for Colgate, and he lived they were amazing. The Miami Project they brought up. It was an amazing charity that they brought up for people that have been paralyzed in the NFL. Is everybody rooting for let's put the Lions aside.
Long story short, NFL, there's a ton of ways in which you can go about this and make this right. Let's say that. There's a ton of ways that you can go about that.
Is everybody rooting for the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year?
No.
I said put the Lions aside.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Is everybody can the Bills build on this and really take it up a notch?
I like that. I would say, Maz, you know what? If I'm not, the Miami Dolphins, or if I'm not a team that's, a rival of the Buffalo Bills, and even then, hey, I think so. I think you have to be. You can't have that many people be a part of those prayers and be a part of the thought process and be a part of like crying. A lot of people that didn't even know DeMar spent tears for DeMar. So I'm like, I think so. I think people are cheering for DeMar, especially once their team loses. I think the Buffalo Bills are that team, and I think.
But can the Bills build on? Can the Bills?
Hell yeah, Josh Allen's their quarterback
for them.
Like Josh Allen was on that field crying. Yeah. Like when he was crying with Joe Burrow, he's crying with his teammates. Like you got somebody that good that's this emotionally distraught. We've seen it a ton of times where a player has gone through something that was connected to him, and it takes you to that level. I remember when Brett Favre's father died.
Yep. That Monday night
I don't know
game.
if I've ever seen a quarterback play that well
against the Raiders.
Exactly. So like when something happens, like you're on that level, like Josh Allen is, it takes you to that next level. And they got a ton of guys that are really good on that team. Some of maybe a couple that are great. They definitely can use this as a rallying cry because there was a lot of concern for the Buffalo Bills in the later part of the season. Like, are they still the team that can get it done? So, you know, you hate that it happened.
Right.
But to answer your question, I think so, yeah.
I'm not rooting against the Bills by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not my team.
No, I understand.
You know, I like Bills Mafia, you know, them.
True.
And honestly,
they
like
are our team.
I was going to say we have a little bit more connection to them this year than any year they played in Ford. They won back-to-back games in Ford Field for the first time since like 1970.
Yep.
Like
then the Lions did it the following 2 weeks.
They had more wins at Ford Field than the Lions did at one point.
That is wild.
Not anymore.
Not anymore,
but for real, yeah. So I mean, sure, you talked me into it. That's my secondary team. You talked me into it.
There you go. Everyone's secondary team is the Bills this year.
Good.
No question. Unless you're a real big Chiefs fan or something like that.
Well, you should always have an AFC and an NFC team.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I usually love the Ravens or the Steelers. Those are my two AFC teams.
I'll tell you, how smart are the Steelers all of a sudden? I don't mean to change subjects.
Well, they got one of the best coaches in NFL history.
But how about Kenny Pickett, man? Kenny Pickett is looking like the real deal. I mean, how many people said last year the quarterback class was horrible?
Yeah.
The Steelers put a number one pick on Kenny Pickett, and he is starting to look like the real deal, man.
He's the only one in that class that you would have gambled that with, I believe. Well,
I agree.
Not that you would have gambled that with. There was a guy you kind of liked.
Yeah, I did. He was a project, and he's failing right now.
But
we'll see.
But Kenny Pickett is the truth. I mean, I love players that take a program like a Pitt and put them on the map nationally. Like when you can do that. Yeah, when you can elevate a program.
Levis?
I don't mind Will Levis.
No, I'm joking.
But, like, you know, when Michael Carter was at UNC and stuff like that, like, I like those types of players that take, like, a mid-program and make them not elite, but make them in the conversation. Because, you know, those guys have to be supremely talented to push those teams above what they normally are.
Yeah, I've been watching Pickett, like, even going into the season. Like, when we talked last year, Pickett was the only Pickett was the only player that I said was a first-round quarterback. Now, I didn't think he was an early first-rounder. We talked about this. Yeah. I said, if you're going to take Pickett, I would do it, but it'll be later in the rounds, much like he did. But early on in the year, you got to think about T.J. Watt went out game one. Devin Bush was hurt again this year. Like, they spent a lot of their defensive time this year hurt. You look at the offensive side of no offensive tackles, no guards. They couldn't run the ball for anything, and they have Najee Harris. So it didn't matter who was playing quarterback.
He's starting to wake up.
They was going to struggle. But now he's starting to get guys back, starting to get guys healthy. Pickett's starting to understand the system. A lot of times, if you don't have a great team in place where you can just plug and play, it takes a quarterback a second to figure a system out. It takes a coach. It takes coaches a second to say, what is he really good at?
Ben Roethlisberger said, I made a mistake on this kid. This kid is the real deal.
Ben struggled a little bit his first year. I mean, they still almost went undefeated, but he struggled a little bit as well. So it takes time when you're a rookie quarterback, but looks like they're figuring it out.
You know what doesn't take time? Getting that sweet bronze tan that beautiful Tom Mazawey has over there. And where can you get a sweet bronze tan? That's that New Jersey beach tan you got.
That's it. It's still from the Jersey Shore. That's the only beach I can make it to with my three daughters going to school we have to pay for. Anyway, Chili Peppers tanning is the way to go. You know you're not going to get any sunshine at this time of the year here in Michigan. So 27 locations, no excuse. Chili Peppers tanning is everywhere. I got two right here on Woodward Avenue. If you join the Peppers Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitor on unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the cleanest salons in the D and the hottest bulbs. The hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters. Chili Peppers Tanning.com.
I love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full-line merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed-out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Oh, my apologies. I'm so much. We've been flipping subjects, man. My apologies. Guess what? Time to talk Centron. Centron has partnered up with the Detroit Red Wings as well as WoodwardSports.com to introduce to you limited edition 6-pack. Go to CentronWorld.com/Red Wings. They partner up with all the major brands in Detroit because they just want to win and they want to bring the city back. So let them drink it, live it with Centron.
I can just gauge the room and you can feel it. I mean, we get to be on the big stage, man, and our guys are excited about that. And one way or another, we get to play one more game. At the very least, we're playing one more game.
That is Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell commenting on how excited they are and how much this game means for them Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. Welcome to the Ermanni and Edwards with Maz show right here on WoodwardSports.com as well as Fox2Detroit.com. Thank you guys for watching along, being a part of the chat. We appreciate you, even Tristan calling Ben Roethlisberger a clown. We love the clown emoji. Throw it in there as much as you can, guys. We got JB.
I agree with Tristan.
We got JB, we got Fletch, Dan Campbell talking about it. I think we talked about this yesterday. The tone he's setting is the right thing he's doing. A lot of times coaches try to bury the lead with a game like this, like, oh, it's just another game on our schedule. No, we're going to treat it just like, hey, we're coming in on Tuesday or Wednesday just like we always do. Dan Campbell's putting the pressure on the guys. No, this is a big game. This is a play. Even if we're not playing to get in, we got a chance to have a winning record. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had a quote about that too. Like, this is about going 9-8 and keeping the Packers out of the playoffs.
That's real. That's absolutely real. Like, listen, if you are a Detroit Lion, you hate the Packers. So your job is to hate the Packers. And I love that Amon-Ra St. Brown said that. But going back to your initial question, talk about Dan Campbell, I love it. As a former player, he knows what it means to play in big games. He knows what it means to play in games that are just a little bit different than the average game you play in. Look, every game's not treated the same. And this is one where everything's on the line in this game. And then if it's not on the line, you know it is on the line, it's keeping the Packers out of the playoffs. So I think, especially after all the BS that who has talked all season, I love that he's getting his guys going. You got to get guys up for this game. If every game was the same, then why would they talk about playoff level intensity? Why would people's elevation go up in the playoffs versus the regular season? This is a playoff implicated game, and you're a team, I got to pause as I say this, that deserves the opportunity to go to the playoff or deserves the opportunity to finish the season 9-8 after a tremendous second half of the season. So I love that Dan Campbell had these guys ready, but I love that they answer the bell that Dan Campbell sets. Right. It's the one thing you love about the relationship with Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, Stick and Maz, is like whenever he says something, they echo that. Whenever they say something, he echoes that. Like, they do a very good job of that. Like, this isn't no BS when they say we play for him. When he says, like, those are my guys.
And
this
I think
is
it's because he's authentic,
family.
and you're not getting that stupid-ass coach speak that you get every week. The same broken record over and over again. And you see that a lot of times in press conferences. I don't know what it's like in the locker room. And, like, a lot of people didn't love Jim Caldwell because of how he operated in press conferences. I don't know if he was a fiery guy in the locker room getting guys. I don't know that. But what
not
I do know...
Not everybody is a podium guy.
Right. What I do know is Dan Campbell is a podium guy.
It's very true.
And he's a guy that is delivering the message that his guys get behind. because you can't deliver that message and put pressure on guys that can't handle it. So I think they've selected, as another Brad Holmes thing, selected the right type of guys to when pressure comes, they're not going to shy away with it and be like, no, this is just a normal game. It's, no, this is for everything.
And he's done that all year. Like, if you paid attention, he put pressure on Jared Goff. When people early on in the season,
That's
like,
right.
it was like, whoa, damn, did he say that about Jared Goff?
Yeah.
He put pressure on Jeff Okudah. He's put pressure on Aiden Hutchinson. He's put pressure.
Jeff Okudah.
Exactly. He's put pressure on Aaron Glenn. He's put pressure on coaches. He's put pressure on players. And guess what's never come out? There never was a problem.
Yeah.
There never was an issue with the Detroit Lions. They never broke the fabric of being together. He's done that. So you got to give him credit for doing that. You got to give his players and coaches credit for saying, you know what, that's on me. I'm ready to go.
Well, that's what great coaches do, too. They know how to apply the right amount of pressure.
He basically said,
and which ones.
Yes.
If we're going to go down, we're going to go down my way. Yeah. Because that's last year when he sat down and Anthony Lynn, he took the play calling away from him. Listen, I got one chance to be a head coach. Yeah. I'm not blowing it. This year, last in defense, Aubrey Pleasant, I'm sorry. They let him go. Yeah, he went to Green Bay, so I'm happy that he got a gig. But that had to be hard for him. But he's doing it his way. Guys like him, Pete Carroll, the guys that work the refs, work the sidelines, that are more boisterous, those are my kind of guys. Like Bill Parcells back in the day. I mean, Bill Belichick. I just don't like Jim Caldwell was a great guy.
That's some great company you just put Dan Campbell in.
I do. Well, he comes from the Bill Parcells tree.
I know he does.
All right.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. And what I mean by that is last year there weren't too many things that I necessarily liked about Dan Campbell in terms of his coaching style. Wasn't too many things. I'm just being honest. I think sometimes you have to learn, and he's gotten damn better. Now, I like a couple of things. But, man, the one thing I really enjoy that he asked his friend Anthony Lynn to come, because Anthony Lynn, remember, was done. He took some time off. He was going to make his next move or figure it out, probably get into some consulting work like he's doing now for the 49ers. He said, yo, I need you to come coach this Detroit Lions team with me. I know you retired, but come over here with me.
Right.
It wasn't going well. He fired his friend. Like, he let his friend go that he asked to come out of retirement. You know what message that sends? Look, we're boys. But my guy didn't get it done. I got to go another direction because, like Matt said, you don't have too long at this. This isn't back in the day where teams are going to let you sit for a team for 5 years and 6 years and figure out as a head coach. You only got about 3-year window. So that was one of the first things I was like, yo, okay, Dan Campbell. That's a ballsy move.
Yeah, he does it his way. Sometimes that can completely backfire. So far, he's pulling the right strings.
He's learning,
making the right moves. He is learning on the job. We knew that was going to happen. That's why
cost us a few games.
D-Mac's famous clock that he keeps in the corner during his show, like. In retrospect, D-Mac was smarter than the majority of us because he knew that, hey, this is a 34-game evaluation process. This isn't a 17-game evaluation. It isn't even a 22-game evaluation process. We got to wait to see the totality of 2 years. Because if he would have thrown this away middle of the season, and, oh, man, this guy's, Adam was saying he should have worked at McDonald's and not been coaching. Now it's like, oh, man, he's up for Coach of the Year. Sometimes you just got to let things simmer. Let it marinate.
Yeah, you're right. D-Mac hit the nail on the head with that. And the thing is, how many of us watched last year, sat on this desk, sat in that chair, sat in the booth, and we analyzed it, and we kept using a word last year as related to the Detroit Lions, undermanned. We kept saying that they were undermanned. We kept saying that, like, usually when coaches take over a team, they take over a situation, like there's some players or there's a couple keystone players on that team already, and then they got to go find a couple. Like the Detroit Lions were looking for everything last year, and we kept saying undermanned. But then when it related to the losses and the wins, we were ignoring the fact that we said undermanned. So you're absolutely correct about that.
Yeah, well, where they're not undermanned right now is that defensive line. I think everybody's been impressed by
it. Todd Wash is doing a great job.
The 6th round is where it came from with Houston pairing him with Pascal had 2 sacks last game. Yeah, showing signs of life. And Todd Wash loves coaching this D-line. Here's him, proof.
It's an enjoying group to coach. That's probably the most important thing. I love coming to work, being with them on the field, on the grass, in the meeting room. That's probably it because they're great people.
And there it is again, not just talking about athleticism, not just talking about what they do on the field, but talking about the quality of the character of the men. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Guys you can apply pressure and they will respond, not crumble. That's a huge deal. And then Todd Wash talking about James Houston, who has literally come out of nowhere. This is what he had to say about James Houston.
Once obviously some of these nicks and injuries created, it was an opportunity for us to get him up, take a look at him. When he was up, he hadn't taken any practice reps. So some of this stuff did shock us. There's no doubt.
No, he didn't come from anywhere. He came from Jackson State. Shout out to Deion Sanders for that. Like, you watch James Houston, like, he's so athletic and he's so talented. Like, I watched the sack that everyone saw on Justin Fields
when he dropped in the coverage.
And oh, by the way, like, Aiden Hutchinson has gotten his love all year for being the same, athletic and talented and dropping in coverage and doing some things that we didn't necessarily think that he could do or that weren't a part of his scouting report. But talking about James Houston now, he looks electric coming off the edge. Justin Fields has arguably been the most athletic player in the NFL this season. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
He's the most athletic player on the field during the season.
Look how low he gets.
Look how
that's the dip.
Yeah,
the dip, and he's so quick. I bet Ohio State is wishing that they would have knew this back then and used that a little bit more. They may not have lost to Alabama. But when you see him catch Justin Fields 7 yards in the back, and it didn't even struggle, didn't even get nervous, came up there and made a move on. Pascal is showing. Like, I think another good thing, too, is we talk about drafting the right players. It's just like college. You can pick the right players, or you can recruit the right players and have the right players come into your organization or come into your institution. But if you don't have the right coaches that can develop, like, if you don't have the right guys to develop, those players never get better. And I think what you're saying with the Lions is they haven't had a ton of development. This year, they're developing players at all positions, and that's why they're having some late in-season success.
Steve Brown in the WoodwardSports.com chat, when talking about Houston, says people overlook his speed on that forced fumble, too. That stuck out to me. And like you were talking about, the one where he dropped back in coverage, what really stood out to me is the two different gears he had.
Yeah.
We talked about this. It was a tracking gear and then a killing gear. It's like, gotcha, bah! And he just like a cobra almost, like it was. I haven't seen that type of explosion. It was like a running back almost. You know how running backs kick it into that second gear, wide receivers?
Yeah.
I really haven't seen that out of a defensive lineman.
No, that's real. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because you got to track. Because if you go too fast early, what did we talk about early in the year? Over pursuit.
Over pursuit, yeah.
You over pursuit, which makes it easier for the running back or let's just say the skilled player on offense to get by you. He's not over pursuing. He's, like you said, that's the best word. He's tracking, and right when he trusts himself, right when he has, and then you see the confidence in him. I think that's the key too. Once he tracks, then you see the confidence that he has in himself to say, okay, now it's time to go. Like, not everybody can do that, turn that off and on. That's a good point.
How about that
back-to-back running them over?
How about the back-to-back sixth-round picks last year? Malcolm Rodriguez and James Houston. And there was another special guy in the sixth round about 22 years ago as well. I mean, what is with the sixth round? I bet you if we look at the sixth round.
Did you say 22 years ago?
Yeah. Wasn't it?
Who was it?
25 years ago?
Oh, Tom Brady you're talking about.
Tom
Brady. Okay.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
I thought you were talking about for the Lions. I'm
no.
who the hell? 22 years ago, the Lions
we can't even get a second-round pick right. we finally got the sixth round down. If we can get the second round down, we're going to be unstoppable.
Well, you know what you could get right? Your home security, and that's where Guardian Alarm comes in. They should be your number one draft pick. You call them right now, 1-800-STAY-OUT, and they will keep everybody out of your house because they got that 24-hour surveillance. They got somebody watching your home at all times, so you can have that peace of mind that you deserve when you're away. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That is 1-800-STAY-OUT, and let them know Woodward Sports said hello.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lambeau and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Winter time in Detroit, it could be tough, but It's always better with comfort foods, especially from Big Boy. How about that classic meatloaf or the Cajun chicken Alfredo? And if you love breakfast like Stick does, he loves those potato pancakes. Well, they are back, and so are the Lumberjack, the Santa Fe Garden, and the Blockbuster. Get down to your local Big Boy. Try them all out. Tell them the guys here at Woodward sent you.
Welcome back to the Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz show with Maz. Sorry, Maz.
No, I'm And. I like And.
You like And?
I like And.
You like And? Then let's switch the logo.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, and Maz.
Yeah. And
Right here on WoodwardSports.com, Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filled in for Ryan Ermanni. That is Braylon Edwards. That is Maz. That is JB in the sound booth. And, of course, Mr. Fletch, making sure all the visuals look proper today. Joining us, Ari Meirov is joining us right now. His Twitter has been fantastic to follow throughout this whole Hamlin process, and just now some breaking news with the NFL potentially going to 8 teams in each division for the playoffs. Lots of stuff to talk about, Ari. Where would you like to begin?
Happy New Year. Let's go.
Happy New Year, Ari.
Well, Happy New Year, guys. First of all, I feel like I've been on the show 4 different times. We've had a different variation of people hosting the show, which is pretty amazing.
Oh, you noticed.
Hey, but you noticed I'm here, Ari. I'm here.
Yes, Maz has been an entire time, but quite incredible. But honestly, I think we should start with Hamlin, because I just watched the press conference from the medical center down in Cincinnati. That was it was chilling a little bit. Like, it was all positive news. It was just fantastic. I mean, he's still considered in critical condition, but he's on his way to going into stable condition. He has an understanding of what's going on. He asked the doctors in writing, because he still has a breathing tube down his throat, if we won the game on Monday night, and the doctors responded, no, you won in life. And that just, that's chilling to hear that.
Chills.
It's incredible. So he's obviously moving in the right direction. That's all we could have asked for after seeing what happened on Monday night.
Ari, what's your take on the whole happenings on Monday night? Obviously, the first time it's ever happened on national television like this. Now they're starting to bug Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. They said, they're going to warm up in 5 minutes and play the game. I don't think anybody was going to play that game. As a matter of fact, I know Sean McDermott told Zach Taylor, listen, I can't coach this game. I got to go to the hospital and be with DeMar. What's your take on the whole thing, the way the NFL handled it?
So what I think happened here is there's really nobody to blame, because the regular way, the way the NFL operates, when there is an injury and there's an injury timeout that takes a little bit longer than usual, or there's a weather delay, is that there's a 5-minute break. So when the injury happened, I think it was relayed that, okay, there's 5 minutes. They didn't realize the magnitude of what this is. So I'm not sure exactly who relayed it over to the ESPN broadcast, but whoever it was, whether it was the league office, whether it was the somebody else or whatever it is, that person clearly didn't realize that this is much more severe than what it would usually be. And the NFL executive vice president Troy Vincent did a press conference, or a conference call with reporters at midnight after the game, or after it was suspended. And basically, we don't know where that came from. So what I think happened here is whoever relayed that message just didn't realize how severe this was, and it was relayed over to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And then eventually they kept on repeating that, because that was the message they were getting. And eventually that person realized, yeah, this game definitely cannot continue. And that's when it was temporarily suspended. And everyone had questions about it. But I really don't think the NFL actually said, hey, we got to continue this in 5 minutes. I think there was just a misunderstanding of just how severe this really was.
All right, take me through the process of actually trying to figure out exactly what happened on the field, because I think that's what people want to know in terms of the cardiac arrest. How did it exactly happen? What's the process of figuring that out?
So the doctors are trying to figure out right now exactly what caused this, because the hit was a routine hit. So they're trying to figure out, obviously the impact might have had a part of this, but are there some underlying problems that he had that eventually made this happen? So they're still looking into it. During that press conference that just happened with the doctors, they said they're still looking into it to see if Hamlin has any previous issues, or if there's something that they didn't catch whenever they're doing the physicals and stuff like that previously. So they're looking into it. Again, this wasn't a massive hit to the head that would eventually get, Congress and everyone going crazy at the NFL for being a violent sport. It was just a freak accident, apparently, and we'll see exactly if there's something else to this. So they're still looking into it. Obviously, everything that happened on Monday night was very troubling and scary and frightening to everybody. I mean, even if you're not a football fan, this was on every channel. The entire world has seen this. This was CNN, ABC News, Fox News. Everyone was talking about this, and you're seeing how everyone is literally on their phones waiting for an update to see what's going on. And we finally got updates today, and they were very, very positive.
That's awesome. Ari Meirov joins us, our good friend. Check him out at My Sports Update on Twitter. He's got his own NFL show. He's just joined a great new place, the 33rd Team FB. Tell us a little bit about the 33rd Team. There's a bunch of owners and players that do this Twitter handle. Am I correct?
So the 33rd Team was started by former Jets and Dolphins GM Mike Tannenbaum, and it's essentially a bunch of former and current players, coaches, and executives who are all part of it. And they have videos and articles giving their perspective of what's going on around the NFL, whether it's behind the scenes stuff or current stuff or drawing X's and O's for players and those type of things, just to give a better understanding of what's going on. So it's a fascinating website. I was very intrigued by it over a year ago when it started, and it took them some time to figure it all out. And over this last year, they've had so many people join, including one of your guys, Amon-Ra Brown, is part of the 33rd Team as well. So a lot of players, coaches, executives who are all part of it. They all contribute on the website. They all have behind closed doors and those type of things. So joining this team, which when they reached out a few weeks ago and we started having those discussions, I wanted to be a part of this. Obviously what I do is more news and information, and these are the type of people that I talk to essentially. So this is just right down my alley, and it was a perfect situation. PFF was great, of course. I enjoyed my time there, but there's always new beginnings elsewhere, and I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, we're happy for you, Ari. I know you don't have a lot of time, so I want to get into the X's and O's here. What are we going to do? What is the NFL going to do? We're hearing that they might add another team here, another playoff team here, an 8th team possibly. Another thing I heard is maybe the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals game, if they play it at all, will be played in Week 19 along with the NFC playoff games. What can you tell us about going forward here? Can our Lions get in as an 8th seed? That's what we care about.
All right, so there's been a lot of scenarios thrown out by everybody on Twitter trying to figure out what's going to happen, what could they do. I think first of all, we should get a resolution probably by today. I would assume. I would be shocked if the Bengals-Bills game continues or is resumed elsewhere at a different time. I don't think that's going to happen. What are they going to do from there is the bigger question. I saw the Pro Football Talk report about adding an 8th team. It's not the craziest idea. I see where he's coming from. And if you think about it from an owner's perspective, they would love that, right? They don't care about the buy. If you add 2 more teams into the playoffs, have more games, more TV revenue, that's all great for them. Obviously, the NFLPA would have to agree. Maybe they'll discuss about raising the amount of money each player makes for the playoffs to get them to agree. But I think from an owner's perspective, they would be fine with that. But if Monday night's game was between 2 teams who just weren't really relevant, or the seeding wasn't as crucial as it is with Buffalo and Cincinnati, I think they would just call it a no contest and move on. Yeah. I think they will call that a no contest. The problem is figuring out the seeding. So I think the idea of a AFC Championship game, if Buffalo, Cincinnati, or Kansas City make it there and they face each other, then it goes to a neutral field. That does make some sense to me, but they have to figure this out, and I would assume that's going to come out here probably later today. They're going to send out an email to all the media, and then it'll be flooded on their Twitter timelines with example of what goes on. But if they do the idea of 8 teams, and I haven't heard that, somebody floated it to me yesterday, but it didn't really make much sense to me because he included the idea of having buys. The Pro Football Talk report has no buys, so it makes a little bit more sense, but we'll see what happens. But if that 8-team idea comes back into play, this entire Week 17 is all hell breaks loose because everyone is once again alive. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So even the implication of the Lions-Packers game, it's completely different. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I'm assuming they knew this press conference with the Cincinnati medical team happened just now. They knew the outlook on it will be positive. That's what they wanted, and now they're going to come out with the schedule. knowing that everyone has calmed down a little bit and knowing that Hamlin is doing much better
Thank God.
than he was a couple of days ago.
Thank God.
Yeah, our last question for me, jumping back into the DeMar Hamlin deal, talk about the NFL and DeMar Hamlin. What can they do so that they don't drop the ball in this situation, in this scenario? A lot of things have been talked about, GoFundMe, NFL working with them, getting him some whatever it will be for long-term life care. What can the NFL do not to drop the ball?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, it's important to note that, and I didn't know this at the time what had happened, but the NFL does this thing every year where they have all of this stuff ready to go in case something like this happens. So during that press conference we just had, the doctors at UC Medical Center kept on praising the Bills and Bengals medical staff for knowing exactly what to do. Every single stadium has medical people in case this type of thing happens who knows what their job is, and they know where the ambulance is and they know where to go right away to make sure it all works out. So in terms of that, I think everyone should be thankful that the NFL already had this in place already, because I didn't even know that was the thing. So for having that in place is a big deal. Now, what happens moving forward? It's a great question, and I think the NFL will step up to the plate and make sure they do right by Hamlin, because obviously what happened to him is very tragic and very sad, and it looks like as of right now it's going in a positive direction, and I think they will do something right. The thing for me, at least, has been just seeing the support from across the country has been amazing, because people who use social media a lot, you kind of feel like the world is a lot of mean people, rude people, whether it's or whatever it is, or go to the hospital and pray over there, or go to the Bill Stadium and pray over there. Most people are really, really good people. So that's the one thing that was amazing to me, and seeing the unity. What the NFL does, I'm sure the NFL will figure this out and do right by him, do right by his family, and make sure everything goes right. But the bigger picture thing, I think that's more of an NFLPA type of a thing. Whatever this does, hopefully it never happens again. But these type of things, if it ever happens again, there has to be more of a thing ready to go in terms of their support for the future for all these guys. Because as it is right now, this last collective bargaining agreement, they worked on some things, but there's still a lot more work that needs to be done. And I'm sure the NFLPA, at least this offseason, especially by the time we get to the owners' meetings, they're going to have some real discussions with the league about fixing some stuff.
Ari joining us. Nice to meet you. My name's Stick. I'm one of the hosts that have rotated through here during your time getting interviewed with us. You brought up the Lions and the Packers game. We are Detroit Sports Network, so
we are.
There seems to be a debate around here. The reason why this game got flexed is because the NFL absolutely loves their darling Aaron Rodgers. Braylon and I kind of feel that the Lions have put a good foot forward this year in becoming more of a national darling, more of a national story. As somebody who sits on the outside looking in, do you see the NFL looking at the Lions in more of that light?
Well, I came on the show a couple years ago before the Lions were honestly relevant, and I was like, I like your guys' future. I see what you guys are trying to do here.
You did.
I didn't think it would be up until now. It would happen this fast, but it's been really impressive to see. Now, the NFL's perspective on the Lions coming into this season, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions were the only team without a primetime game coming into this year.
Correct.
So
all 1 o'clock
clearly
games.
Excluding the Thanksgiving game, right? But
yeah.
The NFL clearly did not really think of you guys that highly coming into the season. Now, going into next year, where everyone loves Dan Campbell, the Hard Knocks was awesome. You have a top 5 pick from the Rams. You have your own pick, which will probably be in the top 20, 22 as well. Assuming you guys go on a run, which I guess is possible. But
32.
Point is, and you have all the you had that last year, to be fair. But point is, I think with all the young talent and these defensive pieces and how you guys are hitting on the draft and having all the cap space this offseason to go after somebody else, I think you guys are guaranteed to get more come next year. Definitely not zero. You guys are obviously going to have your Thanksgiving game. I think the arrow is definitely pointing up for Detroit, and I think it came a year sooner than anybody else expected. So everyone loves Detroit. I think everyone is realizing that they have a really, really bright future, and they all got to see it this year. And hopefully come next year, you guys will have at least 2 or 3 primetime games, which I feel pretty confident in.
It's about time they recognize, baby.
There we go.
Ari Meirov, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And obviously, Maz says you're a friend of the show, and you're welcome back anytime. And thank you for supporting before everybody else was supporting. That's big for us. So thank you very much.
You guys are awesome. I enjoy coming on here. It's awesome. And good luck on Sunday night. Whether it's 8 teams, 7 teams, whatever it is. If Detroit makes the playoffs, I'm telling you right now, Detroit has become America's team.
There it is.
We'll talk to you on Monday, Ari.
Definitely. Call him right back. All right, good to see you as always.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
You hear that, Cowboys?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
I love to hear that. Like it's always nice.
Chills.
It is nice to ask people that sit on outside the bubble because we live in the bubble, right? Especially me of all people.
Hey. You know, he said that's what happens though. When I was with the Cleveland Browns, I think we won 4 games my rookie year. We won 5 games my second year, and in those 2 years. There were no primetime games. We were a 1 o'clock team, just like the Detroit Lions. My third year, we won 10 games, went 10-7, 7-1 at home. That next year, because Cleveland's one of those story teams, much like the Detroit Lions, we had 3 Monday night football games. And then we had a Sunday night game. When the league sees you win and they believe in it, they reward you with primetime games. And I think that's what you're going to see. All right, hit the nail on the head. You're going to see that with the Lions next year. They will be awarded with primetime games.
Well, and you want to look good when you're on those primetime games, and you want to look good in real life. You know who can help you with that? Custom Health Center. Ooh. They can get you down looking lean and mean like our man Ryan Ermanni, who's on vacation right now. And I'm sure when he's strutting into the hotel pool, he's feeling much better about himself.
He does strut.
He's got a strut on him, and that's all because of Custom Health Center. You know, he used to be the guy that would wear the T-shirt in the pool. No longer. He's the guy that's shirtless in the pool. 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. Give him a call. Get your Custom Health underway.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Woodward Sports loves their lobster. I know you guys do as well, and we love Cousins Maine Lobster, and you can check them out at cousinsmainelobster.com. They got a couple of trucks running around Detroit. You got to get on that website right now, cousinsmainelobster.com. Check out their schedule. Download their app. It is all free for you, and they are outstanding. The food is amazing. Lobster tacos, lobster mac and cheese, lobster bisque. We can go on and on. You heard Stick yesterday talking about that buttery lobster that he dreams about. And you got to get them.
Put it in
get
my
them over
mouth.
to your next party. Have those trucks over to your next party. All your neighbors will be so jealous of you. cousinsmainelobster.com. Okay.
They're in Ferndale today from 5 to 9. Ferndale from 5. So just down the road. Maybe we should go. And then tomorrow, Walled Lake, Mount Hood. And then Monroe also tomorrow. And then Monroe on Saturday.
Delicious.
Romeo on Monday. So yeah, get out there.
Rock that lobster.
Well, speaking of Monroe, Stick, thanks for that, alley-oop right there. JB here to talk to you about the Monroe Street Midway. They've swapped out the skating, the basketball, the mini golf for the giant Arctic slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course, that indoor arcade as well. It's free to get into the site, and there are guaranteed so many activities down there, you're guaranteed to have some fun. But if that's not your thing, they also have food down there as well. They are serving up burgers, pierogies, homemade chili, chicken sandwiches, and of course, the mac and cheese bites. Gotta check it out. But Coming soon is the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics. You'll be able to compete with the likes of Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Adam Baydoun, Ryan Ermanni. Maz is also going to be competing as well. Also, the heavyweights will be down there as well, too.
Oh, yeah.
Stick, you're going to show up this time?
I figured. I'm not going to compete because I want to make it fair. But,
okay, so you're just making an appearance. I got you.
I'll observe the boys.
I got you. But the rest of the Woodward Sports family will be down there as well. So check it out at deckedoutdetroit.com for all your Monroe Street Midway fun.
.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards and Maz. There you go. You like that, Maz?
I do.
There's too many ands, though.
Well, Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz.
Yeah. See, I like taking out the word between Ermanni and Edwards.
Yeah.
Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz.
It flows.
Yeah.
Ermanni,
it's proper English
Ermanni,
too,
Edwards.
so I dig that.
Bray Ryan, Maz.
Bray Ryan and Maz. We are
Cool with
live
that.
on the woodwardsports.com and also fox2detroit.com. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. JB, thank you for your live read, and Fletch making sure everything is running smoothly. All right, Braylon.
Dude.
People have waited 6 days for this.
It's a doozy.
We got to talk Michigan football.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let me lead it off.
If you start off by blaming the refs, I'm leaving.
The refs sucked.
God,
the defense sucked. And the play calling sucked. You're up.
Hey, you took all my thunder. No, I'll start here because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. And I said this on Twitter. I actually used an F-bomb, which I typically don't use on Twitter, but I did. I said, were there questionable calls? Yes, but there are always going to be questionable calls in games. We lost. At the end of the day, we lost. Like, yes, they were two plays that hurt. There was a targeting, and Roman Wilson was a touchdown, but so what? We lost. Like, TCU was hungrier than Michigan. We lost. TCU was better coached on defense. We lost. TCU made the right plays on offense. We lost. So I'm not making it about excuses. What happened was the things that we glossed over all year got exposed. J.J. McCarthy has held the ball too long all season long. That got exposed. Michigan's red zone offense sucks. That got exposed. Giving Mullins the ball 5 times, what are we doing here? Like, the way you start the game, like, that got exposed. Like, 100% that got exposed. And you can't spot a team. Like, let's go back to this. They were 1, 2, 3. Those are the 4 best teams in the country.
Yep.
As voted for by the committee, those are the top 4 teams, which means TCU was voted to be there because they're one of the best teams in the country. This isn't some slappy that you're playing. This team is hungry. They're there. They're playing for a first-year head coach. They're pissed they lost against Kansas State. They're hungry just like you are. You know what they represent? They're representing the first team to make it out of Texas. Like, just think of the history, like what Texas represents.
Texas football
exactly
means a little something.
UT, Texas A&M, the list goes on.
Hell,
Baylor,
even high school football.
None of them made it. TCU was representing
Cowboys.
all that. They were starving. You can't not come into a game that's hungry. You can't spot teams there. You can't spot them 17. You can't spot them 21 points. You can't spot a team that's hungry 21 points. Now, we saw what happened with Michigan. They played hard at the end. It was a little bit too little, a little bit too late. I wasn't impressed with the play calling. I think that caught up with us.
That 4th down call at the beginning of the game.
4th and 2.
The Philly special?
The Philly, yeah. What the hell is that? What are you thinking when you're in the state? First of all, because we've gone through this in the Woodward Sports chat, when what was it? Was it the Jets game when Dan Campbell didn't take the points on the road?
Right.
I was in there, and people started roasting me. And then Khalif Raymond returns a punt for the touchdown. Everything Dan Campbell did was perfect. But I'm like, no, you always take points on the road. To me, neutral means road as well, because it ain't home. If it ain't home, it's the road. What did you think about that 4th down call early in the game?
Based off of the 3 play calls before that, I would kick the field goal because I didn't like either one of the play calls. It was 3 bad play calls. I looked up at one point, Loveland was running reverse. So I'm like, I would have taken the field goal based off of those plays. If there were 3 good plays and you looked a little bit different, but they didn't look like they had an answer when they were down there in the red zone in terms of the first drive.
They looked confused.
Like, the offensive play calling looked nervous. They looked like they were hoping that somehow JJ got the ball in the end zone. They were hoping that Mullins, the guy that hadn't touched the ball to the Ohio State game, now you give it to him 5 times. They were hoping that he would fall into the end zone. They didn't look like they had a real game plan, so I would have taken the field goal 100%. I mean, it's, you know what's funny is, like, only 3 Michigan games I've ever hurt in my life. And when I say hurt, I'm talking about hurt. Like, when Michigan lose, most of the time they deserve to lose. So I'm not one of those guys that's hurt. When they lose, hey, they lost. The Hail Mary against with Cordell Stewart in '94.
Yep.
Oh, I was there.
Michael Westbrook.
You know what? I was 11 years old. Fault me if you want to. I cried. When we lost to Ohio State in 2006, the 1 versus 2, we were better than them. Should have beat them. To play against with Sean Crable, that was the game right there. I didn't cry that game because I was a grown man, but I was pissed.
Trouble with the snap?
Nah, not for some reason. Not even that one. Because I feel like Michigan was still trying to get to that echelon. I thought Michigan State was better.
that was a perfect rivalry game. Trouble
exactly,
with the
and that's why
the champ wasn't ready to give it up, but you could tell they were on the way.
And that's why I didn't have a problem with it. Yep. This one I had a problem with because Michigan's better than TCU. Yes, I said it. You can believe what you want to. Michigan team is better than TCU, but that TCU wanted it more that day, and they beat Michigan. You can't spot a team. You can't fumble down there in the red zone. And when I say fumble, a proverbial fumble in the offensive calling, and then on defense. All year we've seen defense be the hunter, be the prey, be fast, move around. They weren't ready. They could not get out of their own way on defense.
TCU's quarterback ability to just drop back for 30 yards and then find the guy running the under route, those two plays to me changed the game. You know, because Michigan was back in it down by 3, and then all of a sudden they're down by 10 again. Right?
That's because there was no defenders on that side of the field, which I'll never understand for the rest of my life.
Because you had to defend for 9 seconds, and they were man-to-man coverage. You run everybody this way. You won't run the one guy underneath, and you hope to get to the quarterback in time, but that quarterback literally dropped back 20 yards.
The craziest thing about it is when you actually break that game down, when you go back and look at that game again, Max Duggan didn't beat Michigan.
No.
Max Duggan didn't play a good game. Like, if you take away a 75-yard touchdown, like Max Duggan, like you said, he made the 2-3 plays that counted.
Yep.
He made the ones that counted. Like, they responded when they needed to. Every time Michigan got a little bit of that passion back, 75-yard touchdown. Here's the next play. Michigan gets more of it back.
They did what champions do.
1,000%. And that's what I would say. Like, TCU did what champions do. I expected it to be on the other side for Michigan. It didn't happen.
I just want to ask you this. Because we talked about this.
Go ahead.
We talked about this. Last year when Michigan lost to MSU, when Blake Corum when Hutchinson's touchdown was called back. Remember that one?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. When the touchdown to, was it Romeo?
Roman Wilson.
I'm going to stop you there, man.
When that wasn't called a touchdown.
We're going to come back and talk about that.
Fine.
Because I know.
I just want to know how that affects a team.
Exactly. And we had a discussion about it yesterday. We want to get Braylon's opinion on it, but we got to take a quick break. Tell us about Swiss Insurance.
Well, be sure to check out Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses choose a one-on-one effective date. Swiss can make sure they help you get the proper coverage and time. Swiss Insurance can give you a shot. Guess what? You won't be disappointed. Trust my man Mark at Swiss Insurance Group.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Matrix Home Solutions is your go-to for any home project. Looking for a new man cave? Well, they have you covered. They are your basement remodel experts. They also specialize in bathrooms and kitchens as well. With an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, why not give them a try? Give them a call at 888-594-8844, or you can always check them out online at matrixhomesolutions.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz right here on WoodwardSports.com and Fox2Detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan. Ermanni, Braylon Edwards up here, Maz over there, JB, and Fletch. Maz, before we went to break, you were about to ask a question that me and you had kind of an argument about earlier in the week. So
when a touchdown isn't a touchdown, does it affect the team? I mean, Roman Wilson's, that was a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a touchdown. Now, that'll be a touchdown in 100 years. Calvin Johnson's touchdown against the Bears, to me, that's always been a touchdown.
It was.
And I don't know, it's a stupid rule. And then last year, Hutchinson, they said it wasn't a touchdown against MSU. And then they went on, Michigan State went on to win, TCU went on to win. How does a non-touchdown affect the team?
I just think in certain scenarios and certain situations, and like with that one, once again, it's another goal line stand. But then they get the ball essentially at the 20. So it changes the momentum for the opposite side. TCU is now excited. TCU has a different play charge. But that one, it's certain plays. Like the Aiden Hutchinson one, that's different. Like that Aiden Hutchinson one, that changed the game.
They would have went in with a much bigger lead.
They would have been up 10.
Yeah.
And they got the ball back. And they got the ball back. So you're looking at a dejected Michigan State versus a Michigan team that's now about to put the foot on the throttle. Now they're up 3. Now Michigan goes in up 3, but dejected. They go up like, man. So it does have an effect on the game. But when you have so much time left, when you're a good team, you make up for it. Like when that happened, that was the first half. You make up for it. You know what? You come back in the second half, you say, all right, you know what? We got to make up for it. Hey, listen, Maz.
Keep the camera on Maz rolling his eyes. A former NFL player is telling him how players got to respond to adversity. Because this was the argument. This was the I'm like, Maz, if this was the last play of the game and you're shut out of the end zone, clock hit 0, you got screwed.
No, the last play of the game was targeting that they took away.
Whatever. You got screwed. Yes.
What would have had the ball at midfield?
Maz. We're talking about the play that you think changed everything.
2 plays
when
changed
you got
it.
the ball on the 1-inch line and you have the best offensive line in the country, you put that ball in the end zone, you don't make excuses.
Yeah.
You have to hand the ball off for sure.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't have to hand the ball off.
I'm saying
you can do a quarterback sneak.
I know that. He didn't even hand the freaking ball off is what I'm saying.
But you can't blame that on the ref. Can you?
But the play shouldn't have happened. It's a touchdown.
But it did, and you didn't perform.
They should be going for 2 at that point.
Funny thing about it, though, I will say this in Maz's defense: there were a lot of Lions fans that were bitching and complaining when Micah Parsons walked down the tight end. They were like, "Oh, that was a touchdown," and then Jamal Williams fumbled. So everybody pumped the brakes.
Absolutely.
On that. But going back to talking about the game, you know what, Roman. It was a touchdown.
It was. I agree with that. It was a touchdown.
But just like I said, you have to get over it. Mm-hmm. That's what the good teams, that's what the great teams do. We claim to be the best brand. We claim to be the #1 team in the country, even though we've never beaten Georgia. You got to win that. I mean, you got to overcome that. And they didn't. They didn't make the plays when they should have. With that being said, where do we go from here? That's been a big thing now. Everybody wants to talk about where do we go from here.
Yeah, well, you were in the arena. You were around a lot of Michigan fans. What was the sentiment? What was the tone? Was this the 13-0 season has now become a waste? Or was this oh, man, this is the second time? Yeah. Was it we've lost 6 bowl games in a row? J.J. McCarthy watching the players walk off the field again and saying, once again, we'll be back, like it was a replay of a bad movie. Like, what was the Michigan tone inside that arena?
Well, it was flat inside the arena. I don't even think people even talked to each other until the next day at the airport. That was when we really were having conversations. This is how I look at it. I heard a lot of people say, it's all for naught, blah, blah, blah. I heard people, saying, hey, well, you know what? It's 13-0. It was a great year. The players played great. I said save it. I said save that. And the reason why I said save that, we claim to be an elite brand. If we claim to be up on the precipice, then it's no longer like it was a great season. When Georgia lost to Alabama with the 2 at halftime, with the 2 at halftime game, Georgia couldn't come back and say, you know what, well, we was a great game. When you believed to be late, it wasn't a great season if you didn't get it done when you thought you could or when you knew you could.
So you're not satisfied with the Ohio State win and Big Ten championship?
I'm not satisfied with it this year in terms of having a conversation where I can say, hey, you know what, it was a damn good year, man.
It was right there for him.
Exactly. No, that's not going to be the conversation you're going to hear from me, but this is what you will hear. Before the season a year ago, nobody would have thought Michigan would have been back-to-back playoff contenders. Nobody thought that Michigan would have embarrassed Ohio State 2 years in a row. And this is where I start having a conversation where Michigan is and where Michigan is going. I'm good with that. I'm proud of that. Am I pissed at the loss to TCU? You're damn right. But am I excited about what Michigan has to offer? You're damn right.
Yeah.
2 years ago, nobody was talking about Michigan this level. Now, now people are bitching about Michigan not winning it all. 2 years
they're
ago,
bitching about 13-1.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How nice is that?
See, think about the turnaround.
Yep.
25-3 in 2 years, considering the year before that, we were a team that gave up to Ohio State, didn't even play Ohio State because we didn't want to lose by 100. And now Michigan is in this elite level. Now Michigan has won the transfer portal in the offseason. Now Michigan has J.J. McCarthy, who against TCU and against Ohio State had over 700 yards passing and over 6 touchdowns. And it's coming back next year, where he's number 2 right now in the Heisman voting going into the preseason. Michigan is on the right trajectory. Michigan is here. I've talked to J.J. McCarthy, by the way. J.J.'s ready. Yes, he watched it again because it happened again. It didn't see, the year before when he watched it, he didn't play. He played this year.
And they got blown out.
100%. So am I going to take that moral victory stance and say it was still a good year? Not for me, you'll hear that. But can I tell you that I am damn excited for the trajectory of Michigan in the years to come?
Yeah.
Yes, because guess what we still own? The Big Ten. We still going to run through the Big Ten and then win it again. We'll be back in the playoffs again. And then it's up to whoever the hell is coaching to figure it out. And hopefully it's Harbaugh. But if it's not, those players now know how to win. So I'm cool with the trajectory, and I'm not making moral victories.
You brought up about how people kind of forgot where Michigan was before Harbaugh got there. Ironically, on December 5th, I wrote an article on woodwardsports.com called Jim Harbaugh is owed an apology. And it says when Jim Harbaugh took over the University of Michigan, the entire program was suspect. The culture was dead. The Michigan man thing became a thing of the past, and Michigan State had become the predominant program in the state. And if you look at what Rich Rod did.
That was well written, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, just 3-9, 5-7, 7-6. Then Brady Hoke had a nice year, 11-2, but 8-5, 7-6, trending down. Then Jim Harbaugh gets there, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3. 9-4, but still better than 5-7, 7-6, 8-5. Like that's a great season. Then of course 2020 happens, COVID year. That's kind of like a bubble season in the NBA. It is what it is.
It was there.
And then last year 12-2, this year 13-0. Like when you reset the floor to what he has for that program, and when you set expectations, and I'm not a Michigan guy, you know this. Like I'm
100%.
When you reset that into where people are now disappointed in an undefeated season, you've done it right.
Bingo. And then look at it this way, and I say this, last year I was one of the people that when he was flirting with the NFL, with the Minnesota Vikings deal, I was pissed. I was like, so this guy sets it in motion. Now all of a sudden he leaves. I was one of those guys. This year, having a year to assess the situation, if he leaves, you know what? I wish him the best. Because he came and saw what he said he did. He said he was going to make this a better program. He said he was going to make this he said he was going to make this the program again. He said he was going to beat Ohio State consistently. Everything that he set out to do, he's done. He didn't win a national championship, but I don't believe he ever said he would win one. Like he's done everything he said he would do. So if he leaves now, you know what? I will pray for his success in the NFL, considering especially how it ended for him. Just even look at this season. Look at this season. Start the season, he's flirting with the NFL. Gaddis leaves. McDonald leaves. So his coordinators leave. He almost leaves. Then his freshman phenom quarterback that's supposed to be the heir apparent, the transparent, the guy that's going to transcend the program, he has surgery. He's not really practicing all the spring ball. Then he really is not practicing in training that camp as well. Then you have the whole K versus JJ thing. JJ wins the job as his shoulder's still messed up. And then he's playing with a hurt shoulder all year. That's why, and no excuses, I don't want to get into that part. But he's playing with a bum shoulder all year. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to figure things out. Now you got JJ, who's ready. Now his shoulder is good. Now his mental is good. Now he knows what it means to lose himself. because he didn't lose against Georgia. Cade McNamara did. This is JJ's loss. This is one
sixes,
he's got it 100%. You can't do that.
I triggered Flannel Sam by saying Cade McNamara wouldn't have thrown those pick sixes
because he wouldn't have thrown the ball.
He would have gotten sacked
because he wouldn't have thrown the ball. So I just think when you even look at that, like the year that Michigan has had, like the turmoil from top to bottom and all the way to the end, they are just in a better space.
Yeah,
they are the team in the Big Ten. And because the Big Ten is still, hey, look, call it, you cracked the jokes all year. Yeah, Big Ten's not that good. But guess what? Michigan's at the top of that not-so-good Big Ten, which means they will be back next year, and they will figure it out next year, hopefully, for our sake as fans and alums. But no more victories.
Right.
Hey, we won the Big Ten. We won the battle. We lost the war.
Well, Cody Engel in the WoodwardSports.com chat says, Stick, until last year, Jim Harbaugh was not accomplishing what he was hired to do. Why would we apologize for holding him to a standard of why he was hired? Because you are forgetting what you were before the man got there. That is why. That's why. It's that simple.
He's brought them all the way back.
Yeah.
He's brought them more than all the way, but further than they've ever been. They've never had a 13-0 season.
Yep.
The program has never had a 13-0 season. Yeah, never. I mean, you look at this.
They're dangerous again.
100%. They're very dangerous. You look at Ohio State. You look at where Urban Meyer got there. They hired Urban Meyer to win national championship. You know why they did? Because he had won national championships already. Because he had already been in the national championship. He had already won 2 national championships. They hired Michigan to change the culture. They hired Harbaugh to change the culture. Well, you win 20 games in your first 2 years. You're changing the culture. And now he's finally put the nail in the coffin. He's beat Ohio State tremendously twice. So Harbaugh has done what he set out to accomplish. Could he have done more? Remains to be seen.
We'll come back and we'll talk about Jim Harbaugh a little bit because he's made some statements, but there's also that yearly rumor about if he's leaving. But tell us about SMA before we do that.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. This is their new podcast. This is the S word, and S word stands for stigma because they're trying to destigmatize mental health. But mental health is real. It is a real ordeal, but we want to get ahead of it. We want to give you the information. We want you to have somewhere where you can go, where you can understand what you or somebody you know may be going through. We're here for each other. Go to thesportsma.com. Sean Jordan does an amazing job of providing you the content. All you got to do is click on and check it out. thesportsma.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back to Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz right here on the Woodward Sports Network, live on woodwardsports.com and fox2detroit.com. What up, everybody watching on fox2detroit.com? Yes, thank you to everybody that's participating in the chat today, whether we disagree or agree. It's just fun to talk sports at all times here at Woodward Sports with you guys. So thank you guys. Really appreciate you being a part of it, throwing your input in there. And, even when you throw the clown emoji, we still appreciate you. JB doing it with the funky beats right now, and of course Fletch over there making sure visuals look good. Talking about Jim Harbaugh, Michigan. Yesterday he came out with a video saying he's staying for 2023 season. Coaches say a lot of things. I've heard many coaches say that they're staying and then maybe they take a different job even in college, or maybe they go to the NFL. Do you think Jim Harbaugh has completed his mission at Michigan enough to where he would leave for the NFL? Because I'm in the thought process of thinking he wants to be the best that ever was there. He wants to make Bo Schembechler proud because that was his mentor.
He's done more than Bo already.
I think he has, but in his mind, when it's your mentor, you want to do something that's never been done for the pro. You want an outright national championship.
That's tough. I take that back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, do you think that the emotional attachment will keep him to Michigan, or do you think the NFL is still calling his name?
Now, hold on, I gotta take that back about Bo. Like, in terms of what Bo did in the '70s alone, is ridiculous. Bo lost all of 7 games in all of the '70s. But I think he's done a lot. I think he's done a lot of things he's wanted to do. I think he's beat Ohio State handily. He went down to Columbus, he beat them. He's the double-digit games. I mean, that's more for the fan base, you know what I'm saying, than anything. I think he wants a national championship. I believe now he knows he can win a national championship. I think, being that close, I think he wants it.
Yeah.
I think he really I think he wants to leave it there, but at the same time, you got to think of somewhere else that he was so close. It's the NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL, he was so close as well. So, do I think he's going to leave? Yes, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
Okay.
I don't think he leaves JJ, if I'm being honest.
He loves that kid.
I don't think he's going to leave JJ. So will
That's
he?
interesting.
Yeah. I think he'll stay this year for sure.
Okay.
But will he potentially leave? I think so, because you can't come that close and not have it happen, but still stay around coaching and still have it be an opportunity for you to do it and not take it. His brother's got a Super Bowl win. In fact, his brother beat him to get that Super Bowl win. So you look at it from that standpoint. He wants that Super Bowl win, or he wants another chance. And then you also look at how he was. I mean, he was forced out in San Fran. You can say what you want to. He was forced out in San Fran. He was forced out in San Fran. He loses to his brother in the Super Bowl. That's been eating at him for a very long time. So do I think he'll leave? Yes. Is it going to be this year? No.
He's lost 6 straight bowl games. It's not a good look. To lose. Now, this was probably the closest.
Michigan's not been that's one thing I will say. Michigan, for history, are not bowl winners.
No, they're not.
I asked Brady Quinn this joke. I say, which one of our teams are above 500 in bowl games? Neither Notre Dame or Michigan is ahead in bowl games in the history. So Lloyd didn't win a lot of bowl games.
No.
Bo didn't win bowl games. It took Bo 30 years to win a Rose Bowl.
Why is that, do you think?
Because they're always out west. No, I'm joking.
Honestly, is it because my dad grew up in New Mexico, right? And he would always joke around, made a lot of money on the Michigan boys when they'd travel west back in the day.
I thought we were the leaders of the West.
He's not the only. Well, we were when the song came out.
When the song came out. When the land was settled.
Exactly. When the song came out. I think I can speak for Lloyd. Because I played for Lloyd. I didn't play for the others, although I know Bo, and I know it's the same. The prep was different with Lloyd than it was for other coaches. When I played against Tennessee and Phil Fulmer, and played against Pete Carroll, and played against Mac Brown when he was at Texas, they were very lax in how they were working out and getting ready for the game. They saved all that they had for the last 8 days. They saved it for the game. So when the guys came into the game, guys were fresh. Michigan, when I was playing with Lloyd, Lloyd ran us into the ground. I love Lloyd to death. I would say anything negative about Lloyd, but this is the truth. Lloyd ran us into the ground. We spent the first quarter getting our legs under us. So by the time we really got our legs under, it's second quarter. It's second, third quarter. I mean, we won one game. We beat Florida because Rex Grossman absolutely did not care about that game because he was going to the NFL. And shoot, they almost beat us. But I think we just put
he made a Super Bowl.
He did his first year. He was so second year. It was just so physical, always. By the time the first half was over, we were still gassed from practice leading up to the game. So I think I can't speak for the gym. Although I did play in San Fran, and let's say training camp was never easy with him. I think that's.
I forgot you played for Jim Harbaugh.
I did.
I completely forgot about that.
2011.
I have so many more questions I want to ask you now. So much more insight I want to get to.
Those answers might get me in trouble.
Listen, you can't blame him for wanting to go to the NFL, like you said.
No, you can't.
But here's the kicker. I hope he does stay this year.
Yeah.
But he's getting older. And what does the NFL do? They go out and get guys that shake hands with Sean McVay.
Yeah,
they want
right.
35-year-olds. They want 30-year-olds. He's what, 50?
No, Jim's older than that. Jim's 50.
Yeah.
He's still climbing trees. He's fine.
He's in great shape, but he is a dinosaur as far as age goes.
Such a wild card, man. Such a wild card, that guy.
It's the truth, man.
I think the other thing that Jim's probably thinking about, and this is, once again, this is just this is not insight. This is speculation. Just kind of watching. We talked about Jim Harbaugh is the best version of himself that he's ever been, right, Mas?
Correct.
Like the Jim Harbaugh you see now, except for maybe some play calling, but Jim Harbaugh is the best version of himself. He's now more open to players. Mm-hmm. He's now more not about himself and about everything around. It's not just, the Jim Harbaugh show. Like, it's the coaches. He now understands how to have right coaches. Let coaches have a say in what's going on. Trust your coaches. If you're going to hire them, trust them. Trust your players. I think now that he has that mindset, I think he wants to take that back to the NFL and see, will it work this time around? Like, now that I'm this guy, now that I kind of have that, let me see if that'll work this time around, because it's working here. Almost finishing the deal. But I think he's got to be thinking that, like, now that I'm this best version of myself, let me get one more chance at him.
Well, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So
true.
Jim leaves. Who fills the spot? Mike Hart has been rumored.
No.
But who in the college landscape could you bring in to fill a Jim Harbaugh?
Man, it's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, right? He's a unicorn. He's a one of one, right?
Start there. He's a unicorn. He's a one-on-one. He's a Michigan guy. I mean, hell, he was finished third in the Heisman at University of Michigan. He's a Michigan guy. He's built this thing through what he's learned from Bo. Like the team, education. Like, he's built it through that. Like, how this Michigan team is constructed right now, I can't see another person stepping in and having the same success, or being able to say the things that he said, or being able to be the quirky Jim Harbaugh. Like, this team was constructed off his name, image, and likeness.
I love this in the WoodwardSports.com chat. Philip C. writes, TCU's coach. That's who should be
Sonny Dykes.
Sonny Dykes.
Yeah.
And then Deion Sanders is getting a ton of mention. And, of course, Braylon Edwards getting a ton of mention.
How about Urban Meyer?
I appreciate you.
Tom Brady once he retires. That would be interesting.
Tom wouldn't coach Michigan.
About a Les Miles.
Les Miles, who they should have hired 8 years ago.
Now you say dinosaur. Now that's the dinosaur. Les is...
Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer.
I wouldn't turn Urban Meyer down, I'll tell you that much.
I wouldn't either, but...
You want to piss off Ohio State? Get yourself an Urban Meyer.
The problem with Urban Meyer is, like, he's... Where do
we begin?
Side note, I told you I thought Ohio State was going to beat Georgia.
You did.
I told you.
You did. They should have.
They should have. The ugliest kick I've ever seen. But
should have been done before that.
It should have been. I'm glad it wasn't, though, because that would just put... That would have
Ryan Day
played
that last downs that Ryan Day he played scared.
He did. Yeah, he did. Like,
and what does scared money do?
It loses.
Don't make money.
C.J. Stroud actually showed me something that game, though.
He sure did.
Because I haven't been high on C.J. Stroud. But going back to what Urban Meyer did, Urban Meyer set what you see at Ohio State. Like, he's the one that set that in motion, making them individual, making them not care about the team.
That's why Ryan Day was born on third.
But Ryan Day's getting a lot of negative publicity for it. Well, he's only filling in what Urban already set in motion. Only difference is Urban wasn't losing to Michigan, and he wasn't, So that would be tough for Urban to come here, because I think to be who he is, he's going to have to break up what Michigan is now. Like, Michigan is team, family, like team, they get it done. Urban's not that.
Urban could be an op, man, just coming in to destroy the program from the inside. I don't trust Urban Meyer as far as I can throw that.
You got a good point.
He's an op. He's an op. Don't trust him.
You got a good point there.
But to your point, I don't know who that person is. Like, I'm trying to think what Michigan guys are coaching in the NFL now. Like that, if I was actually trying to figure out who would I hire, that's where I would start. Larry Foote, obviously, Cato Jr. Like, I would go down the list of guys that are coaching.
The DC that just left and went back to Baltimore.
How about a name like Bill O'Brien?
I would love Bill O'Brien. I thought he was a great college coach.
He is.
Bill,
I thought he was a good pro coach. Horrible pro GM.
Yes.
Good pro coach.
You got that right.
Very true.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Or Sean Payton.
Sean Payton is getting mentioned in the WoodwardSports.com chat. Do you think he'd step down to the college level?
Boy, that would be kind of cool.
That would be that offense. Would
No,
be
because
fun.
the thing with Sean Payton, like you got to think about it too for like guys like Sean Payton, guys like that.
He has
like,
a recruiting.
One of the reasons why you start to see these guys want to leave, and here's another thing you asked about Jim Harbaugh might leave. Yeah, he still want to win a Super Bowl, but at the same time, like the older you get, like this job in college is tough. Like recruiting every day the same players that are already on your team.
And that's something I want to talk to you about coming up next, the transfer portal and how that's changed recruiting, because it's also has to do with a big name at Michigan that's going to be leaving. But first, Maz, tell them about the Folding Warehouse.
Let me reach for my pin first. Here it is. My Folding Warehouse official pin. Get down to Hamtramck. 2 ways to play this great game, football and bowling. Hey, it's my bowling night tonight. I'd rather throw a football at these pins than a bowling ball. It'll probably be a lot easier. Nonetheless, 2 ways to play it. $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation. For 2 hours, you get the lane with 10 or 12 of your friends. Run you $120. That's less than $10 per person. How about the bar? They got every drink you want and over 100 beers to offer, and the $2 mystery beer machine. Get on down there, bring your own food in, or have it delivered. That's right. It's the Folding Warehouse at foldingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Planet Fitness is home to the judgment-free zone with membership starting as low as $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yeah, only $10. You can join in club today or online at planetfitness.com. But don't forget, Woodward Sports is broadcasting live from Planet Fitness on Eureka Road in Southgate all day tomorrow, Friday, January 6th. Once again, that is all day tomorrow, Friday, January 6th. You'll be able to meet Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, and the rest of the Woodward Sports team. Plus, there's chances to win tickets to see Joel Embiid, James Harden, and the 76ers take on the Detroit Pistons on January 8th. Not to mention free pizza for all from 12 o'clock to 3 p.m. It's Planet Fitness, Fletch.
Where your fitness is essential.
That's right.
I like the alley-oop to Fletch there. That is fun stuff. Welcome to WoodwardSports.com and Fox2Detroit.com. This is the Ermanni, Edwards, and Maz show. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, JB Smooth, and then, of course, Fletch. Transfer portal got brought up. 3 things I want to discuss during this next segment, I guess you can call it. 1, Andrell Anthony enters the transfer portal for Michigan. He gone.
Yeah.
You don't throw it to him, he ain't going to stay there. That's pretty much...
We've been saying that for the past 4 months.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely have called that one. And there's his statement right there. So he will be entering the transfer portal. TCU had a lot of transfer portal players on that team. Do you think, Braylon, that gave them almost a competitive advantage because you're playing with some more experienced players? Like, you're picking up guys that are already, they know the game.
Yeah.
You're just fitting them into your offense. You've seen what they've done already at the second level, or at least understood what they can do in practice at the second level. Do you think that changes how all teams are going to approach this transfer portal?
To a certain extent, as it relates to that, I think it gives you an advantage. In terms of the game, now Michigan's a better team, so I don't want to say that. But in terms of the whole season and watching TCU play, like when guys transfer, typically when they transfer, it's because it didn't work out at the school they went to beforehand. They weren't better than the players that were playing before them, or something happened that they had to get out of that town, and the town no longer worked, or the coach didn't like them. That's a real thing, by the way. It is, the coach doesn't like you. When you transfer to the next team, you know where your mind is at? It's like, I'm going to show them. Like, so your mind is in a different level. You're in a different space. You've grown up a little bit more in college. You're like, you know what? I'm going to show this school. Let's just make up a school. I'm going to show Texas, they effed up on this one. I'm going to show them. I'm going to do it at TCU. I'm going to show Alabama that I was a better running back than such and such. I'm going to go do it at TCU. So it definitely adds that chip on their shoulder a little faster than when they get to the NFL. So that definitely can help. And I think, guys are going to start doing that, because you look at Michigan right now, I think they're the number one team in the transfer portal. I can't wait to see that linebacker from Nebraska. Like, I can't wait to see him on the squad. I can't wait to see the offensive lineman for Arizona State. Like, so I think now, in high school, I will recruit the players in the high school that fit my team. And what I mean by that is Jim Harbaugh has done a good job of keeping his values or what he believes Michigan to be in place with the guys he recruits. He recruits guys in this area. He recruits guys that understand Michigan. He recruits guys that he can convince the team, and it works for them because they have an identity. They're family. They play together. They work for the. Like, whenever you see a press conference, you see 4 or 5 guys up there just bigging up each other, bigging up the other guys on the team. Like, that's recruiting. You're recruiting certain individuals that will do that have that inside of them. So I think the players that fit the identity of your program, like, that's the guys you need to recruit. As far as trying to step out and maybe going after this 5-star or that 5-star or this guy down there, you don't necessarily have to do that. That's where the transfer portal comes in. I think you can get some of those guys in the transfer portal.
Well, you talked about Jim Harbaugh, and one of the reasons he may leave to go to the NFL is he's sick of doing the recruiting trail, going to the high school kids' houses, sitting there when they're in 10th grade, promising their mom that he's going to take care of, the rigmarole that comes along with that. But with the transfer portal, you kind of don't have to do that as intensely, right? Yeah. You can hyper-focus on, like, maybe 10 guys. And if you don't get them, all right, I can go get that Arizona lineman that we need anyways, So I think that may help Jim Harbaugh stay at the college level because it does take a little bit of that stress off.
It does. It definitely does. But the thing about Michigan, like, when you're finishing number 20 in the recruiting rankings, it puts extra pressure on that transfer portal. If you have one of those years where the transfer portal doesn't hit for you, you're going to take a setback, and so that's where those things kind of coincide. But that definitely is a good question. It definitely is a good thought, thinking about being able to go after these 10 guys. The other guys in that class are going to be the guys that really are Michigan, really, kind of fit the mold, fit the program, et cetera, and then also wait to get the guys in the transfer portal. So
it's interesting how it's coming about, because when I heard that conversation about how the transfer portal may actually just, like, get rid of high school recruiting altogether for bigger programs, it really made sense to me, because why would I go find a high school kid who's kind of a gamble when I could go for somewhat of an established product?
Especially if you aren't getting the 5 stars. And we were just talking about that off air. Georgia is 17 5-stars. Alabama's 18, they're number 1. Ohio State's 15, they're number 3. Michigan had 3 5-stars. Like, they get 3 5-stars. So if you're not getting those type of guys anyway, then the transfer portal is going to be a place where you can make up some ground, where you can make up an edge. I just look at it this year, like, Andrell's leaving. You put that up there, and we didn't get a chance to really talk about it. Like, I knew Drell was leaving all year. Like, I've been talking to Andrew Anthony all year, and I knew back then, and the only thing I tried to get him to do was, like, look, if you're going to wait to make this decision to the end of the year, I said, stay in it then. Give this thing a chance to work, because the more you start thinking about what teams you could potentially go to and what's going to happen, it's going to mess you up here. Like, the reps aren't going to work, and blah, blah. So
does that hurt other wide receivers from wanting to go to Michigan?
It does.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, you look at it this way. Like, how many number ones have been to play wide receiver since I left? It was Devin, it was Ka'Cole Crawford, and Andrell. Well, 2 of those guys transferred. Like, you're giving the number 1 jersey to the guys that are leaving. They're not getting the ball. Michigan doesn't throw the ball like that. With the exception of, you see the Ohio State game, and then you see TCU. They don't throw the ball like that. So when they don't throw the ball like that, and you're a top you're a top 100 wide receiver or a top 50 wide receiver, you're already looking at all they do is throw the ball. Then you're looking at the guy, all they do is run the ball, excuse me. But then you're looking at guys that were supposed to be the guys that are leaving. Like, my question is this. You got a guy, Andrew Anthony. You watched the Michigan State game. Okay, now this was last season when he had 175 or 179. Like, he had 179 and 2 touchdowns in a multitude of ways. He ran a long touchdown on a short throw. He caught he caught a jump ball in the end zone. He made some hard catches. He ran some intermediate routes. Like, when you watch a guy that has all that talent and then you watch Michigan not utilize him. Like, if you watch them not utilize this guy, he had a drop against Illinois, but he also had a bunch of games where he wasn't even targeted.
Yeah, like, Michigan's like damned if they do and damned if they don't, right? Because you have that run game that dominates the Big Ten, so why not just abuse it and get your W's? But at the same time, you got to dial it up throughout the season to get these wide receivers involved, because when you need to turn it on, you're going to have to need them to be there, and it's just... It's a weird predicament that Michigan's so good in one facet, it almost prevents them from developing the other facet.
The other thing I will say, too, though, is if you look at Jim Harbaugh, if you look at the quarterbacks that he's had since he's been here, man, you look at Jake Rudolph, then Wilton Speight, then John O'Corn, then Dylan McCaffrey, and then Shea Patterson, and then Cade McNamara. These aren't necessarily typically great quarterbacks. I know Shea Patterson had 4,000 at Ole Miss, but they're quarterbacks.
You're talking about the last pick in the USFL, sir.
Thank you.
You better put some respect on his name.
Exactly. Exactly. So with that being said, I can understand why Jim Harbaugh was heavy run based, not to mention he played for Bo, and Bo was heavy run based. Now that you have JJ, and now that JJ has shown you that he can throw the ball, he can pass the ball, I expect Harbaugh, when he stays here this year, I expect the offense to change. I expect the identity to change a little bit, because JJ's showing you he's ready now. JJ's showing you he's none of these other guys that you've had before. He's the real deal. He's a genuine 5-star article. I expect the offense to have some shakeup until where they're no longer just running. Oh, by the way, here's a reverse pass. Like, when Michigan does stuff, it's not even like it's the weird. Don't get me started. But J.J. McCarthy is now showing that they can run and pass.
Do you think that guys like Cade McNamara, Eric All got in this kid's ear? Do you think he's going to Iowa?
Who? Hell no.
Why not?
You think Michigan doesn't pass the ball?
I understand that.
I'm not going to leave one school that doesn't pass to go to another school that doesn't pass.
But you would think that of Cade then.
Not necessarily.
Cade needs a starting role.
Not necessarily. Cade needs a place where he's safe.
Yeah.
Like, he's a safe quarterback. He throws the ball to tight ends. He's not going to throw the ball too far down the field because he doesn't have a big arm. Like, he's going to throw on 3rd and short. Like, what I'm saying, because they're not expecting that. They're going to hand the ball off. That's it. Cade McNamara went to the perfect space for him. Now, if you're talking about J.J. McCarthy went to Iowa, I'd be like, oh, my God. Well, why? But Cade's not that type of quarterback. Cade likes a safe space, and Iowa is the perfect safe space for him. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They play good defense. That's a safe space. He's a safe guy.
How about Andrell to his hometown then?
Michigan State?
Yeah.
That's tough to go to in the Michigan State. It's possible, but teams don't have to sign. I don't see that happening though, because I feel like I don't know. I just don't trust it. I don't trust that he would.
Maybe TCU.
I would trust that.
Yeah.
I definitely would trust that. Well, Max Duggan's leaving though.
Well, you know who I trust? Les Stanford.
You should.
That's who I trust.
Maybe Les Stanford.
Yeah, trust. Maybe he goes to Les Stanford to sell his cars. It's a great living to have, anyways.
Hey, you know what?
Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, and I drove by it last night on my way to the Fisher Theater to go see a play last night because I do bougie things sometimes.
Les Mis?
Les Mis, yeah.
You saw Les Mis? Nice.
Yeah, great. It was great. Fantastic. Go see it. It's only here for like another week or so. Trusted name for over 50 years, Les Stanford Buick GMC. You will get that same great service that customers have known. Go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And be sure to go to lesstanford.com to find the brand that you want.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
At Alta. Uptime matters on Alta Equipment. They got everything you need to get the job done. You have a big project coming up. Give Alta Rental a call today. They got you covered. Call them today at 844. Go to Alta. That's 844. Go
the number 2.
Alta.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Sorry, that's what's on the graphic. I got to do that till we rebrand, Maz. I'm sorry.
What's that?
Never mind. So you don't even notice.
Yeah, I do.
It's woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. He's got one more day of vacation, then he will be back next week. Braylon Edwards is here, Tom Mazawey, JB Smooth, and my man Fletch. Only got about 5 minutes left in the show.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Went by. We just did like an hour on Michigan because we had Braylon, and we needed to discuss all of those things.
Yeah.
The people wanted to know how Braylon was feeling. Are you glad you had like 4 days to kind of compose your thoughts? Because it would have been a little different, like immediate reaction right after the game.
You know what? And I'm talking about is because when I was coming back on the airport, when I was coming back home, we were at the airport and fans were kind of talking. Like when I had the same conversation. Now, if it would have happened like the morning of, maybe. But when I had this conversation, like no more victories, and I start saying it out as I was vocalizing it out loud. I was ready to talk about it then. Like, to be honest, I was pissed. But I still was ready to talk about it. It wouldn't have been me coming in here with a bunch of excuses or me pointing the finger at people. It would just been like, as a whole, it would have been the same conversation we had today.
Yeah, because sometimes when I'm doing those Lions post-game shows, like I'll go back and rewatch them because they're instant reaction, right? Like it's live time. And then I go back and I'm like, man, I probably should have thought about that a little bit more.
I will say, I will say some of my social replies and comments were a little strong on Saturday. I will say that.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, but Sunday, I had that day to think, and then Monday I would have been good. But like you said, like Saturday, I wouldn't able to been compose myself on Saturday. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Hey,
I guess I'm not the professional.
Sports hate, the disappointment. It
hits
really,
like nothing else.
It's real.
Yeah,
it's real. Like I remember going on after that Lions-Cowboys playoff game, and after seeing Ndamukong Suh cry and walk away, and I did the post-game show that night, and I literally screamed out, "That's a fix!" That referee, and I forgot his freaking name by now. It would come to me in a second. I screamed that was a fixed game. I really believed it. And then I got called out by a couple of these reporters and stuff like that. And I don't give a damn. My dad's been telling me games have been fixed. So there's betting on games.
Well,
guys.
your dad's absolutely correct.
Okay,
but you're right.
That looked really bad, and still to this day, that looks bad, like it did in the Michigan game to me.
The Michigan-Ohio State game in 2006. So I went to the game. Yeah. And I left.
Was that an Ohio ref?
Or a short spot?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that was an idiotic play by Sean Craig. I love Sean, but that was an idiotic play. I left the game. I was late for the team meeting that night, and then the next day after we lost to the Steelers, the reporter brought it up. It was like, "Oh, we heard that you were at the game, and that's why you were late for a meeting." I was like, "Why does that even matter?" They was like, "Oh, you're probably a little upset that Michigan lost." I said, "Well, I play for the Browns. I'm used to losing." Yeah, that didn't go over too well.
God.
That didn't go over too well. I told you, sports hurts. Sports hurts.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Hey, Notre Dame got a little richer today.
I'm going to tell you like this. I have been a big fan of Sam Hartman out of Wake Forest. Marcus Freeman picks up Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, brings him into Notre Dame. You saw how Notre Dame finished out the season, 9-4. It was a very strong finish for Notre Dame. This, mark my words, is a very powerful move for Notre Dame. And second-year head coach next year, Marcus Freeman, they're going to be a competitor because Sam Hartman is going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate.
And my boy Rocco Spindler will be blocking for him.
Exactly, Mark's son. Yep. There we go. Oh, we go.
Well, Notre Dame, there we go. Transfer portal strikes again.
That's
what we were just talking about. You've already scouted the guy. You know he's not going to be some 17, 18-year-old kid coming out of high school. He doesn't have to catch up to the speed of the game.
He has the captaincy on his chest. He's the captain already.
That's powerful to be able to have your program. It really is. And it's a cool thing. I wasn't a big fan of the transfer portal because I think a lot of kids are going to screw themselves and really show that they don't have what it takes to become the next level. Because if you can't handle adversity of going to a program and not being the guy right away, what's going to happen if you go to the NFL? And let's use Tony Pollard for a great example. He sat behind Ezekiel Elliott, didn't cry about it. Now he's got his chance to shine. If you lose that type of dog in you and you always run from that competition, it may catch up with you down the road.
Can't remember when you're on scholarship. When you're on contract.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Thank you guys for being a part of the show today. Ermanni and Edwards, they will be live tomorrow.
You'll be live.
We will be live. The collective we will be live down river. It is going to
come
be
on
awesome.
down and see us at Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness.
I might just have to keep going and go downtown after the show.
Yeah, there we go. It's going to be an awesome day tomorrow. We got pizza. We got Pistons tickets to give away. Lots of stuff going on. Morning show is going to be there. Big D energy. And then, of course, Ermanni and Edwards. I get to be down there at 5:30 in the morning to set up and then be a part of all three shows. It's going to be a long-ass day for your boy. So I'm really
going to get a workout in?
Hey,
no, but I'm going to eat all that pizza.
All right.
It is Friday, so I will bring you something.
Oh, all right. Well,
I will bring you something.
All right.
My day just got better. You guys have a good one. Heavyweights are up next. Make sure you tune in for all the golf hate that you can handle.
There you go.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.